Down by 2 against the Dallas Stars in the third period against Jake Oettinger against the Dallas Stars. Brock Faber, though, Minnesota Wild pull off the improbable OT win as they beat Dallas 3-2 to pick up 2 big points in Big D. We got a lot to talk about on tonight's postcast, so let's fire it up.
You are Locked On Wild Postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Minnesota Wild pick up a 3-2 overtime win over the Dallas Stars to improve to 22-10-4 in the season. And more importantly, they pick up 2 points that it looks like going into the third were not going to happen. We got a lot to talk about here tonight. Thanks for joining us for a late one. We are officially on Locked On Wild After Dark territory here tonight. Just got done calling 2 basketball games, so we got the voices gravelly, but we're gonna have some fun with this one. Let's get right to the comment section here tonight. Amanda joining us. Not gonna lie, did not watch much of the first 2 periods. That first 50 minutes of the game was rough. It's a very accurate assessment of what we saw in the first bit of this game. And it included one of the most incompetent power play attempts maybe in Minnesota Wild history by the Minnesota Wild. But I think the Wild just heading into the third period kind of got tired of being pushed around and kicked around by this Dallas Stars team as much as they had. And we talked about it in today's quick little pregame preview episode that at some point, somebody just needed to step up and make some plays. And tonight, there were a few players that certainly stood out and stepped up and helped turn this from another loss into the first time that the Minnesota Wild have beaten the Dallas Stars since I'm pretty sure 2 seasons ago. I'm pretty sure they did not beat Dallas last year. I don't think they beat Dallas the year before. Maybe they did. Comment section, let me know. I think since 2021, 2022, I think that is the last time. Or maybe that season after when Gus was in Vezina mode, they maybe won one of those. But it's been a hot minute since the Wild have beaten Dallas, and all these games have been ugly. But you look at what happened in the first matchup between these two teams. A 2-1 win for the Stars at the X. The games are getting closer, which means that the Wild were moving in the right direction. And tonight, they get a fantastic performance from Jared Spurgeon. They get secondary scoring from Marcus Foligno, Jonas Brodin, and Brock Faber. Can we talk for a second? What was Jake Oettinger doing on the Faber wraparound goal? I've watched the replay probably 100 times already since getting done with the tournament, driving to Taco Bell. Shout out Jesse Pierce. Had to get some post-game Taco Bell. And I cannot figure out what Jake Oettinger was doing because, looking at this play, so if I'm Jake Oettinger right now and I'm just squared up on the net, so Brock Faber's coming in, he dangles around the whatever Stars defenseman that was, and Faber cuts around from behind the net. You know what it reminded me of, honestly? It reminded me of when you're playing somebody in Madden and your controller disconnects and the player is just frozen. Like, he just was just sitting there, and all of a sudden, he didn't even turn around until after Faber started celebrating the goal. Jake Oettinger's a great goalie, but that was not nicey for the Dallas Stars. Minnesota Wild will take it. I mean, that was one of the probably highlight plays of the season was Brock Faber pulling out the wraparound and just sending the Dallas Stars home empty-handed. They did get 1 point, but we got the 2. Brain fart, as Anita says, and we'll go through some of these for Oettinger. Got over-aggressive and just gave up after missing the poke check. Controller legit started superior stick drift tonight, getting it replaced tomorrow. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Oettinger wasn't even in the blue paint when the puck went in. Yeah, just a bizarre play by Jake Oettinger there. But hey, we'll take it. Let's take a look at some of the keys for tonight's win. As number one, I'm going to start with this from Ben. Crazy ending. Glad we didn't just roll over and take the L. Maybe we're starting to get back to how we were playing before the skid. This is why I think the time off did some good. It's a lot of games. It's a condensed schedule, obviously, because of the Four Nations face-off. We'll be taking most of the month of February. It's a condensed schedule. It doesn't excuse the fact that the Wild got dog-walked basically for 50 minutes. But the fact that they were able to put that last 10 in particular together, tie this bad boy up, and in the heads of the Dallas Stars players, they were thinking, piece of cake, we got this one locked in again. We are in the heads of this Minnesota Wild team. They can't beat us. And then it just kind of flipped. And you get goals from Brodin, Foligno, and you get it to OT. But I think one of the big reasons that game was simply 2-0 and not more, Filip Gustavsson, take a bow tonight for that performance. Gustavsson, he's rebounding back into form. He was certainly peppered in this game, 29 shots, and the Wild had 18 themselves. Filip Gustavsson keeping the Wild in this game and allowing them the opportunity to even have a chance at the comeback. Folks, it was an 88% chance for the Dallas Stars to win when they went up 2-0. Even when Jonas Brodin scored to make it 2-1, it was still 83% Dallas Stars get the dub. 51% for Dallas once Marcus Foligno scored to tie it up. And the Wild still found a way to do it. Filip Gustavsson, 0.74 goals saved above expected. The Dallas Stars generated an expected goals of 2.74. I don't even want to look at what surprisingly, the Wilds generated 2.04 expected goals. That kind of surprises me, but let's look at where the shots came from. So, unblocked shot attempts, 30 unblocked shot attempts at Oettinger. 22 of them were low danger, 7 medium danger, and 1 high danger. And Oettinger gave up 2 low danger goals and a medium danger goal. So, it's still not the ratio you'd like to see per se, but this is just we're tired of this win for the Minnesota Wild. We're tired of getting kicked around, and we want to go win and show that all the talk, it's not going to quiet all of it, but we want to show that all the talk about this team being just like last year and not being able to compete against these top teams in the Central. We want to quiet that talk. And it's a great win, but, there's still some things that that are going to need to be ironed out for this team. But let's just enjoy this one. Let's just enjoy this one here tonight before the Ottawa Senators coming up on Sunday. Let's move to Aiden. I think overall the team physicality definitely helped tonight. D-men are the reason that the Wild won this game. Yeah, it was just a kind of a vintage D performance by this Minnesota Wild team. You look up and down. Bogosian had 3 blocks tonight. Brodin had 3 blocks tonight. Spurgeon had 3 blocks tonight. Brock Faber played 25 minutes, 28 seconds. He scored the goal. Brodin also scored. Declan Chisholm had an assist, 19 minutes, 14 seconds. John Merrill played 12:46. None of the defensemen were in the negative tonight. And, that Brock Faber play, I'll watch that 100 more times and I'll never get tired of it. RIP to the defenseman that he took for a walk on that play, because that guy for sure did not expect that. And neither did Oettinger. Greg joining us tonight. They got the Dallas North Stars monkey off their back for good with that win. I certainly hope so, because I'm sick of talking about that narrative. I have to talk about it because it is a thing. But it's nice to quote the immortal Kevin Malone in The Office. It's just nice to win one. Great way to start after the long break, especially with the top line not on the ice. No Kirill, no Ek, no Middleton. I said it in that pregame episode tonight. No style points tonight with Kirill out. It's get a win, however ugly it looks. Just get a win, get the 2 points, get out of town. I was listening a little bit to Michael Russo on The Fan, and it sounds like Kirill is just dealing with some soreness, bruised up a bit. So hopefully that's not anything to worry about as we move along. But obviously the team keeping him out for a game is looking ahead and making sure that he's fully rested and ready to go, and understanding that there are more grand designs at play than just this game. We knew that people were going to have to step up and make plays without the playmaker in the lineup. And plenty of people did tonight. How about Freddie Gaudreau winning 10 out of 17 in the faceoff circle tonight? Murat Huznadinov was at an even 50%. Marco Rossi was 8 of 17. And Brendan Gaunce won 2 out of 5. But your big horses in the faceoff circle, Gaudreau, Huznadinov, Rossi, keeping it right around 50% as the Wild out faceoffed the Dallas Stars here tonight. Also, with no Kirill in the lineup, Jason Robertson may as well not have played himself. 2 shots on goal in 18 minutes. He was a -2. Robertson, Matt Duchene, those two were -2s. And Matt Duchene, leading the Stars in goals, was held to 1 shot on goal. So good work by the defense to neutralize the key pieces. Rupe Hintz had 4 shots on goal. He was a -1. The goals went to Wyatt Johnston, which you'd expect, and Evgeny Dadonov, which you would not necessarily expect. But Wild did a good job of keeping some of those key components quiet for the Dallas Stars. And the penalty kill going 3-0, and I do believe the Dallas Stars had something like, I think maybe 2 shots in those 3 power plays. And it's a Dallas Stars power play that is in a mess of a funk. But the Wild have given up power play goals to everybody this year. So a perfect 3 out of 3, take that and sprint to the bank with it. Don't ever give it back, because it still counts, no matter who's on the other end. So that first 15 of the second with no shots, brutal. 14:46 is how long we went without a shot. Yeah, that's, you can't do that. But it's a Dallas Stars team that can roll 4 at you, and You got to weather the storm, especially on the road, especially against a team that you have had little to no success against over the last couple of seasons. And you just got to do what you got to do to come away with the win. Let's go to Britt. Key players injured, true rivalry game, no life in the first two periods. Come back in the third as a different team, rally to tie. Hometown boy wins it in OT. Could not have scripted it any better. It's very well said, and that is a perfect encapsulation of this game. Just somebody step up and make a play. And Brock Faber said, enough, I'm calling game, and we're coming away with the win. Brian joining us tonight. PK was huge, stole 2 points against one of the big brothers who have been pounding us. The jinx might be over. This is going to be the remedy for how the Wild beat these teams. You got to just play really stingy defense. And the special teams have to, especially on the penalty kill, special teams have to be up to the test. And in order to keep these power plays quiet, you got to kill some penalties. So that was that might be the biggest factor in this game tonight. I'll be totally honest with you. I did not expect a win tonight, just based off of Kaprizov out of the lineup, the special teams being as poor and porous as they have been, and the fact that that's exactly what Dallas was going to try to do, was just turn this into a penalty parade. I did not expect to win tonight, and so I am very pleasantly surprised that the Minnesota Wild were able to gut this out and just do what they needed to do and put a solid half of the third period together to steal 2 points against the Dallas Stars. Dougie joining us. Someone in the room got the corkscrew and pulled Boldy's head out of his rear end during the second intermission. Boldy has been in I don't know if there's a stronger term than a rut, but he's been in one for a while. When was his last goal? Now, he had a goal against the Flyers on the 14th. He's got 2 goals in the month of December. He has 2 goals since November 21st. So that's 2 goals in over a calendar month, and he's played every game. That's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done for the guy that is expected to be the number 2 option on this team. He's got to be way better. And I say that as one of Boldy's biggest supporters, very much a fan of what he brings to the table, but he's got to be way better. And I hope that one of the captains, one of the leadership group had a sit down, or John Hines had a sit down with him, or Bill Guerin had a sit down with him, whoever had a sit down with him to get him back on track, because he has been, Matthew's right on. He's been a liability. He's not scoring goals. He's racking up a ton of penalty minutes, and he is exhausting a penalty kill that has been hideously bad. So you got to get back to scoring goals. Or look, you don't have to score every night. Matt Boldy does not have to score goals every night. Matt Boldy needs to set his 2025 goal to impact the game in a positive way every night he's out there. Some nights that's going to be goals. Some nights that's going to be assists. Some nights that's going to be just hustling and winning battles along the boards. It's not going to be goals every night, but the positive impact has to be, like, you got to be way better in that aspect here going forward. I mean, look at the games since the 21st, in which he has been a negative with no points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games in a calendar month with no points and in negative territory. Number 2 option, we can't have that. Homie don't play that. So it's an open call to action, as they say in the social media world, for Matt Boldy to up it, because I want to get back to talking about the good stuff that Boldy does and his contributions that way, like scoring a ton of goals. And that's why we threw out the Tage Thompson trade request scenario, because they clearly need a third option, consistent third option on this team. And it can't all fall to Kirill. It cannot all fall to him to have to, have to score the goals for this team. I am going to see if the post game. No, it's not. Well, since we're doing this a little later than we typically do, I'll keep an eye out on the post game audio, and if that does get posted, we'll add it into the festivities here this evening. Let's go back to Amanda. Gus Bus is back. Yeah, Gus Bus was great again here tonight. And I know the Stars got out to an early 2-0 lead, but he got peppered early on in that game. I think the shots were something like 15-4 in the first period, if I heard correctly. There are going to be games like this where you just get worked in terms of puck possession, and you need a good goalie to be able to keep you in the game, and Gus did that. And we got him for Cam Talbot, who somebody said was actually the franchise goalie for this team and was foolishly traded away to the Ottawa Senators instead of building around him. I don't necessarily share that opinion, because Talbot was 33 at the time that he got traded, but we got Filip Gustavsson for him, and Gustavsson is still 26, so he still is a young enough goalie to be able to build around with Jesper, and being able to have two guys that you can rely upon. That is a good insurance policy in case of injury, in case of somebody just needing a night off. Like, having two guys that are capable is definitely worthwhile. And next year they're going to be making it combined like $5 million. That's not a ton for a quality goalie room. I'm all for it. Trennan interview after he missed his goal opportunity, wasn't happy. He said they needed more anger. He was right. Everybody except Gus was playing too passive. Fix that up in the third period. Well said. Patrick, this is great here too. OT starting with Rossi, Boldy, and Faber, and leading to the goal. That is really nice. That's what we like to see. Very, very good. Chef's kiss. Two best trades Guerin has made: Gus Bus and Brock Faber. Yeah, that's a pretty easy one too in my book. It was always going to be a lot giving up trading Kevin Fiala to the Los Angeles Kings, but I think even Faber by himself makes that a good trade for the Minnesota Wild. We still have Liam Ogren to continue to see where he's at. Once he gets up to the NHL level consistently and produces, that's going to slide the trade more in the favor of the Minnesota Wild, because Kevin Fiala right now, he does have 13 goals, but just 21 points in 33 games. And he's a -9 on the season. So defense optional for Kevin Fiala over there on the Kings. Gus has allowed 2 or fewer goals in 16 of his 24 starts. That is delicious work by the goalie. 7 straight losses to Dallas. Needed this win for the mental factor for sure. Now they know they can beat the Stars even without key pieces in the lineup. Sadly, Cardio Freddy is back. Did he do anything on the ice? I did reference the face-off wins, winning 10 out of 17. Rough night for that line combination. Gaudreau, Hartman, and Johansson were all -2. And Hartman had 3 of the 4 shots for that entire combination. Because Marcus Johansson, no goals, no assists, no shots on goal, no shots missed, no blocks, no penalties, no penalty minutes, no hits, no takeaways, 1 giveaway in 13 minutes, 46 seconds on the ice. That is a water night again. As empty as the calories can be. That is vanilla yogurt. That's not even vanilla yogurt. It's just water. That's a water night. That is a water night on that second line. But hey, Boldy, Rossi, Zuccarello did not look too bad. But again, said it once, said it 1,000 times. You got to have more than one line. Got to have more than one line to be able to win consistently. First line forwards +2, second line -2. And Utah playing Colorado tough so far this season. Rossi was 44% last season. He has improved to close to 50% this season. He's going to get nothing but better with experience, to the point, I don't know if you saw this today, Michael Russo had an article in The Athletic, and we got official confirmation, finally. Bill Guerin is not looking to trade Marco Rossi. Let me repeat. Bill Guerin is not looking to trade Marco Rossi. He is enamored with Rossi's play so far this season, and that is off the table. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. We willed it into existence. Marco Rossi is going nowhere. They are going to have to work out an extension. I'm of the belief that it's going to be a bridge, about a 2-3 year deal. As far as the AAV goes, I am beyond awful at trying to predict those, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But I think it's going to be probably a 3-year deal for Rossi, then get the Kaprizov deal done, and then go back to Rossi and go for longer. Because let's just pull up the those face-off numbers for Rossi so far this season. Marco Rossi is at 48.6% in the face-off circle this season. 28 points in 35 games. What does that equate out to for a scoring pace? Now, it won't factor in. He did have an assist tonight. It won't have that factored in because ESPN doesn't work that quickly. Marco Rossi's on pace for 28 goals, 37 assists, 66 points in all 82 games. That is delicious production for Marco Rossi. So we didn't allow a power play goal. Stop the presses. It's over. Stop the count. The Minnesota Wild penalty kill is a perfect 3-3 on December 27th, 2024, all time. They're perfect on this date, all time. That's all we need to know. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that power play. That was... I would have laughed, but I got angry. Like, it went from being... it went from being like comically bad to like I'm mad. I'm mad that this group is like hideously bad. And so I don't know. A lot of that is Kirill, obviously, not having Kirill to run the thing. It makes a difference, but like even just be like, get the puck into the zone. Enter the offensive zone cleanly challenge. It still can't. Yikes. Do you think Hartman is dealing with a nagging injury? He's been so inconsistent outside of being physical. I know it doesn't show everything, but he's been a minus a lot more than neutral. Yeah, he's on a stretch of, I think, now 15 straight games without a point. And that's rough. That is an astounding stretch without any sort of production. At some point, you start to press, obviously, as a player. You start to really grip the stick tight. So I don't know, like it's hard to say if it's any sort of an injury type situation or anything like that. But I got the stats up here. Yeah, Ryan Hartman in the last 15 games, 18 penalty minutes. He's a -8 and no points. That's got to change because he is like your primary elevate guy under normal circumstances. And so you need him to be able to give you like change of pace production when playing in a top 6 role. And that has not entered into the it's like you got to just at some point you just got to go to the net and you got to get a greasy goal and you got to snap that. Because it gives me a headache. It gives me a headache to just keep track of all these point futility streaks that this team is on. Happy for the win, but can we talk about what seems to be a learned helplessness among a lot of the forwards? Out of position stuff, soft on the boards, can't deliver or receive a pass. It just strikes me as a lot of players waiting for somebody else to take the lead. Not wanting to be the one to make the mistake in a critical situation, wanting to allow for Kirill Kaprizov to take the lead, to do the thing that leads to the win. Anybody here fans of the movie Dodgeball? It strikes me very much as Gordon from Dodgeball. When Patches O'Houlihan is taking stock of the Average Joe's Gymnasium team, and he comes up to Gordon, the nice, mild-mannered fitness nut that is in the gym, and Patches O'Houlihan says to him, you know, you're no good, you suck something awful. He says, where's your killer instinct, son? You got to get angry. You got to get mean. I would like to see a little bit more of that from Matt Boldy. Obviously, Boldy is missing Joel Eriksson Ek as his primary line mate, but you gotta figure it out, son. You gotta figure it out, and you have to start making positive impacts on these games. It's like, yeah, positive impacts only. And look, you're going to have rough games, but you got to just, positive impacts on a nightly basis. If the PK wasn't horrendous, it wouldn't be as big of a thing as it is. But when the PK is bottom of the league, it really puts an emphasis on staying out of the box. Yeah, that was the thing that was the weirdest about the start of the season, was that the Wild were the least penalized team in the league and the PK was still bad. Even if, let's try to do the, I'm embarking into dangerous territory right now because I'm going to attempt to do math. Not my strong suit. Even if the Minnesota Wild, no, that's not what I wanted. I think they've allowed 26 power plays. They've scored 16 power play goals. They've given up 26. Even if they had given up 20, I'm going to try to figure out like how many fewer goals they would have given up to have a decent, like middle of the road penalty kill. So let's try 20 out of 85 attempts. That is not right. So we need 65 out of 85. Yeah, this is what I get for trying to do math. 65 successful kills out of 85 is a 76% penalty kill. So that right there, that's 6 power play goals. If they would have given up 6 fewer power play goals, they'd be at 76%, which would be middle of the pack. We don't need top 10. We don't need top 5. We just need not like dead last on the penalty kill. It seems like every Minnesota sports team over the last few years, I keep asking that. I keep going to that phrase. Like, we don't need best, like top 5 offense in the NFL. We just need not dead last. We just need like middle of the pack defense, just not dead last. Twins need middle of the pack bullpen, just not dead last. The Wild just need a middle of the pack penalty kill instead of second worst in the entire league. New forward idea: Foligno, Spurgeon, Brodin. I mean, I would also consider giving Gus some looks on the power play because oh my God, I was just going to say something that about made me vomit. I was going to say, was Filip Gustavsson the last player to score an extra attacker goal? No, but that was a St. Louis extra attacker. I can't even get into that. Yeah, big shout out to Marcus Foligno as well. All-time hits leader for the Minnesota Wild after tonight's action. And what is his pace? He was on a crazy pace in the hits department. Yeah, he has 116 hits already in 35 games. He had 179 last year in 55 games. Okay, math again. Everybody make sure you're sitting down and get all the women and children out of the first 4 rows of left field. 116 hits divided by 35 games. That is 3.31 hits per game. Let's just say he plays the full 82, which he's on pace to do so far this year. That'd be 271 hits, which would be the second most he has ever had in a season. He has not hit that mark since Buffalo back in 2016, 2017. So Foligno, Foligno being healthy has allowed him to really rack up the physicality against the opponents. And what do you have tonight? He had, I think, 5 hits. Also got credited with the goal. It was a Spurgeon shot that was tipped in to tie the score. But, Foligno had a great game here tonight. Continues to push it on defense. Still one of the toughest forwards to score against in 5-on-5. Dallas dive or actually an interference on Boldy. I did not myself see the penalty, but it would not surprise me at all if it was a double D for Big D for the Stars. Would not surprise me at all if it was the Dallas dive. Straight up fleeced them. I don't want to say anymore, but why is JoJo still here? Yeah, I can't. I am contractually obligated to not speak of 90 on the advice of legal counsel, on the advice of my primary care physician, on the advice of the barista at Starbucks in the drive-thru. They all said, you gotta stop dogging that guy just for your own mental sanity. Urban says bridge deal 2 by 6.5. I'd be good with that. 2 years of developing height, Ogren, Urov, and or Rossi shows he can be elite. Yeah. Gross power play stuff. It's icky. I think Hartman's tired of being stuck on a line with JoJo. Yeah, that's not bad. This is causing some panic alarms. Iowa Wild lost again. Now they're in a rut. Alex sent me the tweet. What was it here? Where is Ben Gislason? Another rough second period for Iowa. Gave up 4 to the Ice Hogs, who led 4-0 after 2. 2 of them on the power play. The Wild have now been outscored 13-5 in the last 6 periods. A third ahead where Iowa needs to show some resilience, win or lose. I think it's about time that there's a change made down at that level. I know we've talked about it quite a bit. I know Denny's mentioned it. I think they got to get a new voice down there because nothing that the Iowa Wild are doing is working. They're just every night. It's just they're down by 3 or 4. It's just it's not great. But this is an interesting question. I'm glad Will asked because I actually have some thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on the Wild possibly ruining Jesper's confidence? I don't think his confidence is shatterable because here are the factors at play. Marc-Andre Fleury has been better than expected this year. And that's the reason that Jesper is not here full time. If Marc-Andre Fleury would have gotten off to a rough start, Jesper would probably be here on a consistent basis. But bottom line for Fleury, 6-3-1. Up until his last start, the peripheral numbers were good. Still has a goals against average of 2 points. Not the Utah start was good. The Florida start was not. 6 goals allowed. You take that out, his peripheral numbers are still pretty good. And until he starts to wither down the stretch, at this point for Jesper, he has signed the extension starting next year. He's going to be at the NHL level next year. He's going to get every opportunity to figure it out at the NHL level. For him, it's just all about trying to kind of handle his business separate of what is going on with that team. It's going to be really hard to put up any sort of good numbers with that Iowa team in front of him. And he's still had some good starts. So I'm not super worried about Jesper, as crazy as it sounds. Because I think his future is pretty well sewn up going into next year. I hope that makes sense. Like it just, I'm not super bothered by what's going on with Jesper this year. The Wild would not have given him the extension if they did not have the full confidence in him being able to get it ratcheted up next year. And look, they're going to have Filip Gustavsson for another season, so they can give Jesper the training wheels. If Jesper has a couple of rough starts in a row, they can go to Gus to give him a day off, a start off. I think they're bringing Jesper along appropriately, and having Gustavsson at the NHL level next year is going to allow them the opportunity to let him get ready at his own pace, which is really all we can ask for at this point. So I hope that answered that. And yeah. There's another good question here. Let's go to Dylan. Who has been the most underwhelming player for you this season? Boy, that's a great question. It's a great question. Let's consider the possibilities. Number one, Ryan Johansson. But I think we kind of expected that maybe the contract year was a thing. Maybe it wasn't. I'm just going to throw it out there. Not that he hasn't been doing other things, but I don't know if I expected more offense from Murat Huznadinov than we've gotten. Statistically, at least, he has not been great offensively this year. But he's still doing stuff defensively. I guess if I'm going to say underwhelming, Joel Eriksson Ek with 5 goals in 22 games, not ideal. Ryan Hartman's a good one. 7 points in 30 games is not great. That's not where he needs to be if he's going to be a middle six producing forward for this team. You're going to need to at least like double that to make it acceptable. So I would say I'd say Ryan Hartman probably the most underwhelming, but there's still plenty of time to turn it around. And with him, 72 shots on goal is good enough for third on this team. So he is getting the shots, but he's not hitting them. He's shooting 5.6% in the season. I don't know if maybe he's going through kind of a similar thing to what Freddie seemed to go through last year. I don't know necessarily if it's an injury or being, bounced around in the lineup. Just the results have not been like he had 20 goals last year. He's going to be at this point lucky to get to like 15. So underwhelming. Let's go Hartsey for that one. Dan had a question. What's Christmas dinner to you? Ham, roast beef? My parents my dad does stuffed manicotti for Christmas dinner. We've done that for the last probably 6 or 7 years. I actually got some leftovers that I'm going to eat tomorrow for lunch. That's what we do for Christmas. And nice side salad, breadstick or two, and 80 pounds of cookies and candy. I eat, I'm going to say this in the most polite way possible. I eat like an idiot over the holidays every single year. And this year was no exception. I ate like an idiot over the holidays. And I'm fine with it. Yeah, elite. But Dougie, this is a great choice too. Prime rib is fantastic. Oh my God. Okay, Britt. I see you. Chicken and sausage gumbo. That's a good one. Eat until you hate yourself. I did that. I had 2 helpings of the manicotti, and I was just sitting waiting for room to open up for the cake, for the dessert, and I was like, I am full up. Can't eat anymore. Food on the holidays doesn't count towards calories. I never count it. Thanksgiving to December just does not exist in a caloric intake standpoint. It just does not exist. I just reset January 1. Oh, baklava would be good. I see you. Do you know what a brandy slush is? I can guess, but I have not had one myself. We did have Tom and Jerry's though. I hadn't had Tom and Jerry's in God, I don't even remember the last time. And that was good. Had a few of those. I might go out and buy some eggnog just because, if there even is still any left at the grocery store. Oh, sweet. Yeah. I'm a little bit of a snob for drink mixes. So put that in and I will definitely take that into consideration. What's your favorite steak place in St. Paul? It's a good question. I haven't had a ton of steak in that area. I've heard that there is a really good steakhouse here in Mankato that I'm going to try one of these weekends, one of these Friday nights. But I'll report back on that, Brett. I'll do some investigative work and see what I can find. Eggnog is best in coffee. Okay. I consider me intrigued. Consider me intrigued. I think Dylan is thinking of Manny's here. I've never actually been to Manny's yet, but that's on my list too. Sometime. Celebrate something. Maybe when the Wild win the Stanley Cup. No, I'll go to Manny's before that, but it'd be fun to go there. To celebrate the Stanley Cup win and just drop like $8,000 on steak. Be nice to have that. Available. Lamb rack? Are you kidding me? That sounds absurdly good. Can we celebrate if the Heartlanders actually make the playoffs? You're damn right we can, and we will. The Iowa Heartlanders getting to the postseason, like, fire me up for that. We'll cover it like nobody can if they get in. Porterhouse Steak and Seafood in Lakeview. Best steakhouse on White Bear by Aldrich Arena. Okay. Give me those recommendations. I see where we're at here, and I like it. Let's see what else here. I do have a little nugget for Sunday's game. By the way, as Amanda pointed out, the San Jose Sharks are beating the Vegas Golden Knights right now 3-2. The Chicago Bears, evidently, I buried the lead. The Chicago Blackhawks evidently saw what the Chicago Bears did against Seattle and said, no, we have to be worse than that. They lost to the Buffalo Sabres tonight 6-2. Hey, How did Tage Thompson do? I'm so glad you asked. He had an assist. He's a +2. He had 1 shot on goal, 3 hits, 2 takeaways in 16 minutes, 49 seconds of ice time, and he went 11 of 17 in the dot. I'm going to will that into existence if it's the last thing that I do, because I'm of the belief that I think he would help considerably. I had a friend recommend number 4, Dougie. I'm excited to give it a whirl at some point here. I shouldn't have corrected this, Dylan. There are tons of different places, so I'm sure there is a Murray's that. Oh, I'm an idiot. I had the Murray steak sandwich at Target Field. I usually get that there, which would have come from Murray Steakhouse. I was like, nope, he meant Manny's. Oh, it's definitely Murray's. God, how did that take me almost 5 minutes to put 2 and 2 together? Holy cow. Brain rot's a heck of a thing. Nuggets for the Ottawa Senators for Sunday's game. Linus Ullmark did not travel with the Senators. So your other 2 options in net for the Sens, yeah, it was it started at 5:30 and I got done with that about 3:00, and then had the 2 basketball games that started at 6:30. That got done at 10, and now we are postcasting. And my brain, like, I can just feel my brain melting in my head. But we're here and we're vibing because the Minnesota Wild found a way to turn the Dallas Stars away in OT. Okay, so no Linus Ullmark. He did not travel. Your goalie options for the Senators for Sunday's game: Anton Forsberg, who is 4-6 with a 2.95 goals against average and an .889 save percentage. Levi Miralainen, who is 1-1 with a 3.72 goals against average and an .846 save percentage. Or Mads Sogard, who is 1-0 with a 6.96 goals against average and a .765 save percentage. So you take away what Linus Ullmark has done so far this season, and the Senators' goalies are substantially below 90% in the save department, and their goals against average has got to be over 3, which is that makes me feel good, because the Senators are they were in a postseason spot for the first time in a hot minute. Brady Tkachuk, I am thoroughly enjoying going to enjoy getting a chance to see Brady Tkachuk do his thing, because he's a beast. Wanted the Wild to try to trade for him when the Sens were a mess. They did not, but that's okay because it would have cost a ton. The Senators, double-digit goal performances from Tim Stützle, Drake Batherson, Brady Tkachuk, Josh Norris, and Adam Gaudette all have double-digit goals so far for the Senators, who have scored 27 power play goals this year. Yikes. That's a lot of power play goals. Where does the Ottawa Senators power play rank, you may ask? 9th in the league at 23.7%. And their penalty kill is at 22nd 77.3. Still trying to speak the Brock Nelson trade into reality. It seems like there is way more national steam on the Brock Nelson trade. Michael Russo has talked about it more frequently. I can't possibly take credit for trying to will that into existence because Denny has been on that train well before anybody else started to drum up steam for that. And it does seem like it's being talked about more, which I guess would lead you to believe that if the Minnesota Wild can get somebody to eat half that salary, then maybe they go their route. Because he would be able to, number one, help with top six scoring, and he'd help in the face-off circle, and he would he'd be able to help you potentially on the penalty kill as well. So it just comes down. It comes down to price. It comes down to what you're comfortable paying to bring him in, and get him in, get him acclimated, and let it rip. Or go get Tage Thompson. I'm fine with that too. What would he have to lose to be able to get Brock Nelson? I would imagine it'd be a pick and a prospect. Nelson's a rental, so you're only getting him unless the Wild enter into extension talks. They would only be getting him for the rest of the season. So for the Islanders, they can only ask for so much. I would say probably picking a prospect would be now high pick, mid-level prospect, high prospect, mid-level pick. That's probably the semantics to make it work, but I think the big thing would just being able to fit the salary onto the books would be the big thing for Brock Nelson. Jamie Benn on the loss. We just pissed it away. Yeah, they did. They really did. It's pretty aptly said by Jamie Benn, who I have heard called a couple of different things that are not appropriate for these airwaves. But, yeah. We should figure out who Billy's secret YouTube profile is. I have an idea. I have an idea as to who it could potentially be, but I don't want that person to unsubscribe to the show. So I'm gonna just keep that on the down low. Yeah, Mason Marchment, that was gnarly, taking that puck up in his grill. Hopefully it's not too bad. But yikes. Big yikes. Big ick. Also delighted to learn that the Ottawa Senators are playing tomorrow against the Winnipeg Jets. So that will be utterly delightful to face them on the back end of a back-to-back. Oh my gosh. The Nashville Predators got beat by the St. Louis Blues tonight 7-4, and the Blues scored 4 goals in the first period, and UC Saros was in net. Man, that team just cannot get out of their own way. Good Lord. They're going to end up making some changes. They're going to have to. Yeah, the Stars have certainly they've taken their lumps over these past few games as well. And then the Predators turned around and beat the Stars. It's been a weird year for Central Division teams. The Avalanche just get off to the miserable start courtesy of Alexander Georgiev. That was a hideous start, although now Mackenzie Blackwood looks like he's going to win the Vezina. Got me annoyed. Remember when the Wild were on top of the league? This season has been a season of all of the... This is the season of all time. Of all of the Colorado Avalanche goalies in their franchise's history, Alexander Georgiev was certainly one of them. Yeah, I get a feeling they do not miss him with what Mackenzie Blackwood has done. But this is all... It's all long. It's a long season. It is a journey. It is a long walk off a short pier. Remember when Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl? Oh, man alive. Oh, all right, folks. I am tired. It's time to go to bed. We'll do a postcast on Sunday. We'll do a postcast, then Alex and I will record your Monday episode for you after hopefully another Minnesota Wild win. But I leave you with this. Brock Faber stood up and made a play for his Minnesota Wild teammates to come away with a big win down the stretch. But don't sleep on the individual efforts of Filip Gustavsson and the Minnesota Wild penalty kill in being huge in that win. And as we quoted from Kevin Malone earlier in the show, especially against Dallas, it's just nice to win one. So thanks everybody for tuning in and enjoying your Friday night with us here on Locked On Wild. We'll have you covered after Sunday's game as well, as the Wild try to make it 2 wins in a row and try to take down the Senators. Let's see if the Sens can get sensed at the XL Energy Center. I was at that game last year, and the Wild ended up taking the win. Very nicey in that game. And we'll see if they can do it again here this year. But make sure to hit that like button before you head out here for the night. And we'll be back with you on Sunday. And it'll be like Sunday's going to be fun because the Vikings play at 3:25. So it'll be basically right from the Vikings game into Wild Senators. And I don't know what's going on. Maybe the Timberwolves play at noon. Just make it a full sports day. New Year's Eve next week, so it's going to be a short work week. No better way to spend a Sunday than watching the Minnesota Wild go to battle and then talking about it after the fact right here on Locked On Wild. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your night. Minnesota Wild win 3-2. We'll have you covered coming up on Sunday, as we typically do right here on Locked On Wild.